You might think that the films reflects the reality, even challenge the norms in our society. Well, it happens. But when it comes to the film industry's way of dealing with gender equality, the statistics shows that we still seem to live in the 40s. How bad is it? Well, 9% of directors are women. 30% of speaking roles are female. And when it comes to protagonists, it's 12. When we finally show up, women are weak, victims, the silent girlfriend, and almost naked. If girls never get to see girls and women play soccer, be scientists, or be the hero, we have a huge risk that children believe that girls can't do any of this. After 1 year of research, we decided to give the Bechdel Test a logo that everyone could use to put on films that did pass this test. The Bechdel Test is from Alison Bechdel comic strips like to watch out for, and asking for 3 things in film. Do the film have 2 or more women in it with names? Do they talk to each other about something other than men? You might not believe it, but so few film does pass this test. So now, 30 years later, it seems like we still need to discuss these criteria. The Bechdel test became a logo called A-rate, where A stands for approved. We used this as a consumer information highlighting film that actually passed the test. Our idea was to get our audience to start think about how unequal the film representation actually are. The news about A-rate became huge, with more than 80 countries writing about it, and celebrities talking about it as a great eye-opener. A-rate is something everyone can use. Today, cinemas, film festivals, film critics, distributors are using the tool to an everyday reminder that we don't have an equal film industry yet. To highlight the 30 years anniversary of the Bechdel test, cinemas all over the world will celebrate with a weekend for women in film, 18 to 20 September. Talks, films, debates and awards. Please join the celebration at your closest cinema.
Hi everyone at A-Rated. We're coming to you from Toronto, Canada. I'm Joella Creighton.
I'm Imogen Grace.
Do you want to talk a little bit about how our film industry is going in Canada?
I do. Our industry here is booming. There's been lots of new work, lots of really interesting roles for actors, and at the same time I think everyone's really stepping up and saying that they want more representation for women in film, and they want more interesting roles, more roles with substance.
Yeah, and the exciting part, how are we going to use the Bechdel test here in Toronto to affect our industry?
So we are actually creating an initiative. It's called the Bechdel Bill, where we're going to producers, production companies, and filmmakers, and we're asking them to pledge that 80% or more, which is 4 out of 5 of the films they make, will pass the Bechdel test. And we are launching the Bechdel Bill at Toronto International Film Festival, along with the 30th birthday of the Bechdel test and all the celebrations that are happening all over the world with A-Rated.
I work as a director, screenwriter. So far I made 4 short films, participated in 70 film festivals and won 16 international film awards. I'm surprised that 13 years after the existence of Bechdel test, we still have to talk about it and we still have to argue about the same things. But when I watch films like Frozen, Today's One Night, Blue is the Warmest Color, these films make me hope that the Bechdel test will be something of the past. I'm very thankful for the A-Rate initiative and all the initiatives that have this focus, and I wish that all the films would go through the A-Rate initiative before being released to cinemas. And only in this way we can make a difference from the films that represent women as they are, and from the films that are totally something else.
Hi, I'm Wendy Borman. I'm an executive producer and director of film and video. I'm also the founder of DVA Productions and Lights, Camera, Fem Action. Life imitates art and art imitates life. So as we move towards true gender parity in society, we need to show that in our films and our film crews. Films travel all over the world showing cultural narratives. And so if we want to impact a new generation of people, men, women, and children, we need to tell different stories. So we can actually change the cultural narrative where it's totally normal to have a female president and a male caregiver, and films are actually the way we can do that. I see a couple really positive trends for women in film. The first is we're seeing a lot more female leads in big budget films. The second is we're seeing more female-centric casts and stories. These are both really great things. I'm also seeing better access to film funding and mentorship for women in film and media, and this is how we can really make it a lasting difference. A rating and the Bechdel test are great tools because they show whether we have a presence in films, but they also give us data. Without data, we can just be accused of being a bunch of whiny feminists, but we actually have proof that there's an underrepresentation of women in film because of A rating and the Bechdel test. This also gives us a way to frame the conversation about how we talk about it. And just by having that conversation, we end up empowering a whole bunch of people to think differently.
Hello, my name is Hauk Heyerdahl. I'm a Norwegian actor. From 2011 until 2015, I was the president of the Norwegian Actors Equity Association. And in that period, my organization had a huge focus on the gender differences in film and theater. I think we all can agree upon that talent is equally distributed among the sexes. And in Norway, we educate just as many female directors, female producers and screenwriters and actors as male. Yet less than 20% of the film that gets produced has either a female director, producer or screenwriter. This is a mystery, and it has been a lot of research on this subject. The obvious answer is that men are holding the leading position, thus giving money to men. But the research shows that women in leading positions also grants money to men. So, does men have better projects? No. I'm a feminist who believes in huge differences between men and women. And in order to get a diverse and courageous film industry, we need more of the female perspective. Unfortunately, we have a long way to go, but we have to keep this discussion alive, and let's keep it loud. Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Pamela Pianezza. I'm a film journalist and a photographer. The reason why I care about cinema and why I love films is that it's about inspiration, giving inspiration to the world and giving us models, answering to questions that we wouldn't even have thought about. A-rate tests are so important because they help raising the discussion and provoking the debate, and they remind us that not to take everything for granted, like equality. They remind us that we still need to fight.
I'm Kate Kaminsky. I'm a filmmaker and the artistic director of Blue Stocking Film Series. It's been a really exciting year since Skull. There have been some losses for women in film.
I'm just trying to eat this delicious slice of escapism, and you're trying to give me a break.
Reading that god-awful piece of shit script.
Thank you, someone else knows what we're talking about.
And there have been some gains for women in film.
There's a rumour going around about you.
Happy 30th anniversary, Bechdel Test. We still love you, and we still need you and A-rate to point out what's missing from most commercially successful films. See what I mean? Enjoy the cinema feast of women in film on screen this weekend. Don't forget to use your consumer superpower to help support women in film. And let's all make a commitment to be the change we want to see. Skål.